What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another video. We got some pretty interesting things that happened today. As far as the trading side went, we're going to kind of go back through a little bit of a normal structure today, where I'll review our monthly, weekly, daily time frame and quickly hop into the 30-minute time frame and try not to over explain everything. And I do like to explain in depth to the best of my knowledge, but today we're going to try to make it quick and spicy for you guys. So let's get right into it. So right now we're looking at our monthly chart. And as you can see on my screen, we have everything from our monthly balances that we are breaking out of, right? So we had two different types of balances that we were inside of. We had our larger balance, our primary balance, right? The extreme highs and lows you can see here were 43.2750, which we are approaching this month and attempting to get near and break out of. And then you have our extreme low down here at 35.02, which we have not gotten anywhere near in quite some time. Then we had our secondary balance area, which we are clearly breaking out of. You can see that here. You can see where I had areas that needed to find acceptance above and where our balance high was at 42.0850. So last month we attempted to break out of it here in May, right? We attempted to break out of that balance area with an outside month up. And then we have a little bit of a follow through here in June, continuing that trend, right? We broke out. We were one time framing up. We continue the one time frame up, meaning we are taking out monthly highs, just like in the daily time frame, in the weekly time frame, and in our 30-minute time frame. Whenever you're taking out highs, you are one time framing up. So that's what we're doing. We are simply setting higher highs and higher lows on a monthly standpoint. Very strong for the buyers. That's what you want to see. Next, you want to see us take out that 43.2750 area, which has been a major key level. Another thing I want to point out for you guys is this 4,300 level, which we've kind of rejected back in May of last year. We rejected in August of last year. And then this year, we're kind of having a little bit of a tough battle in this zone here that I just highlighted, right? So we are having a very difficult time. This could potentially be a triple top that we are seeing form. I'm not saying that that's going to be the case. However, you got to keep your eyes open for any possibility of that happening, right? Right now, the likelihood is that we come through this balance area, but if we do not get going, if buyers do not feel comfortable buying at this higher price, then ultimately inventory will eventually roll over and will potentially come back into some type of consolidation in our larger time frames. And we're kind of already seeing that in our daily time frame, right? So keep an eye on that 4,300 level, right? 4,300, big key level for us on our monthly time frame. Our weekly time frame, you can see how we've pushed up into, this is still the monthly balance area. We've been pushing up into that monthly balance high. However, we are one time framing up 2 weeks in a row, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, you can see here, we have been one time framing up after breaking out of this balance area. We have been one time framing up 2 weeks in a row now. A really strong week last week. This week we're looking to continue to the upside and get that target of 43.2750 monthly balance high. Above that, 4,500 is the next level that I have marked out, right? Pretty good sell tell there, but you want to see us move up through that area. So weekly, one time framing up, very strong for the buyers. We have broke a balance and we have attempted to find acceptance, and we have confirmed that we have acceptance above that balance high there that we were in previously. Now, let's go ahead and look what our daily balance is. Our daily balance. Zoom this thing in here for you guys. Our daily balance that you can see I have marked here. Balance low, 42.49.25. Balance high, 43.05.75. We are in a nice 5-day holding pattern right now. Little consolidation here. Nothing wrong with this. buyers want to hold above 42.50, right? Buyers want to hold above that. If not, then all this inventory up here that was long will eventually wash out, fill in this gap where the previous balance area was, and potentially backtest the 20-day moving average. I would not be surprised to see us continue to consolidate in this balance zone of 42.49.25 to 43.05.75 until this 20-day moving average creeps up right into that previous balance high area and where the gap fills, just for us to push back into it and find a nice bounce off of it. I would be looking for something like that. I would definitely be buying on that gap fill, and I'll show you why in our 30-minute time frame. But balance on our daily time frame, what does that mean? We're just waiting for more market generated information. That's all it is, right? We're just waiting for the market to tell us what to do next, whether that's a news event that could be a catalyst for us to move, or this market decides to break out of balance, just using pure price action and traders like ourselves to push this market higher, or break out of balance to the downside and pull back, fill in some of the poor structure that we have below. Volume has not been terrible over the last several days. It's been above average. However, we want to see an increase in volume. It does not mean that we can't move higher on lower volume. You would just like to see it, because higher volume usually means you get larger ranges whenever you have higher volume. Now you may see that I have this area marked red on the screen here. And what is that? That would be this balance area that we had back here in August of last year, right? We attempted to find acceptance in that 4,300 level and then rejected. So a lot of people are looking at that area just like we are right now, as well as that being near our balance high, right, on a monthly time frame. So right now we are just approaching that balance high, looking to reject it. Now let's go ahead and get into our 30-minute time frame and kind of review what that's looking like. How are we looking on the 30-minute? Our profile, and you can see here firmly still in balance. This is our balance area that we marked up the other day. Hopefully you guys like that video. I try to explain the best I could how I break down a balance area using TPO. But as you can see here, we're still in balance, and we have attempted to test that balance high for a third time. We are attempting to test 4,300 for the fourth time, right? 4,300 is a very difficult area for us at the moment. So despite having a trend day up and buyers being very comfortable, especially after taking out the previous day's low, we pushed up and had a really nice trend day to the upside. We held a set of single prints. I'll mark that. If you guys don't know what that is, I'll explain that in a later video explaining what single prints are, and we'll just kind of go back in the charts and try to find trend days where we can identify single prints. If you guys would like to see something of that nature, leave a comment or a like down below to let me know that you want to see how we identify single prints. But hopefully you've watched my videos long enough to see how I find them and mark them on my charts. But balance, right, is what we still have. Now let's go ahead and bring up all of our destinations that we marked yesterday. Now you can see we took out previous day's low and Tuesday's low, but could not get much extension or tempo to the downside. We attempted to push lower, but did not get very far, right? And one of the things that you can look at is looking at our overnight session. Let me put this into a default stance. But you can look at our overnight session here. And I'm doing this with a 15-minute chart. We'll zoom this in real quick. So this is the full-time session. I just have it separately on a 15-minute chart early in the mornings, because after we take out one or the other, I usually take it off and just don't pay any attention to it. But we'll mark our overnight low, which is here, right around 62.50, 62.75, and then we'll mark our overnight high right here, right? So there's our overnight sessions, 79 to 62. We traded in between that area in the overnight session. The reason that's significant is because when we opened up and pushed lower this morning in the first time frame, we got near that low from the overnight and could not take it out. Why is that significant? Well, it's significant enough for us to front run it, which the ES usually does. We front ran it, bounced up, and then we took out the overnight high. And by doing such, it kind of showed, all right, sellers aren't that serious. We couldn't get the overnight low. We couldn't take out that low to flush out more longs. So we got a little inventory adjustment, couldn't take out the low, rotated back up, price was being accepted higher, and then pushed higher above the overnight high. And then we found acceptance above that overnight high. So that's how you can tell, or well, really you want to have those areas marked, but you can see here where we took out the previous day's low, took it out, couldn't get the overnight low, came back into the day's range, and then grinded up higher. So you want to keep those things in your marked on your chart or somewhere on your chart where you can see it at least early on in the morning, so you can kind of get an idea what this market is wanting to do. And since it attempted to push lower and tested price lower and didn't get nothing for it, guess what? Price naturally will rotate up higher. And what do we have above us, right? After we took out the low, we have a magnet, such as a 9Y point of control that becomes a target. So after taking out these 2 daily lows here and not finding anything below it, we begin to grind up into our 9Y point of control that we marked in yesterday's session, right? That's where in yesterday's session, we were very comfortable trading back and forth for 9 out of the 13 time frames between 42.76.25, right? So we got nice rotation in there. Buyers and sellers were happy meeting there. That's what we were going to see after we fell today, right? You came back into the day's range. You could have taken a long to push up into the 42.76 area and then eventually get the overnight high, which would have been a target. So the first time frame we pushed up and we got that magnet, 9Y point of control. Today we don't have any Y points of control or anything, so we will not mark that on our charts. However, after pushing up, getting that point of control, we opened up in the secondary, the second position, or excuse me, the second time frame. We begin one time framing up by taking out the previous time frame's high. So you see this time frame high here, right? B period, or the second time frame, took out that high, began to push up higher, meaning buyers are taking control. And then we ultimately get the overnight high. And I showed you that on the last chart. So we got our overnight high. Next destination to the upside would be 83.75, where you might potentially see sellers or stops be ran. So now you could have taken a short initially against 83.75 to come in a little bit, but I would not have stayed married to that trade, right? Whenever you have destinations to the upside, typically it's just a reference point to see how price reacts to it, if we get acceptance back below it or above it. And in this case, we pushed up to it and through it, right? So there weren't very many sellers that were found there. However, it did result in a set of single prints being created, which is where sellers just kind of began to get stopped out of their positions, right? So once C period pushed up, continues the one time frame up by taking out that second time frame high, continues to push up, we create a set of single prints. And I'll mark that here. Now, eventually these sets of single prints get eaten away at. Take out that afternoon rally high. So initially, this is what our chart will look like, right? Is C pushes up. If you're paying attention to the right hand side, C period pushes up, takes out B's high, creates that set of single prints. We open up in the next time frame, which is D. It pulls back into that set of single prints. Now we've eaten away, right? Set of single prints, all it means is we have an area where only one time frame traded through that price. Now you're ignoring all this over here. This is for the day. So today we only had one time frame trade between 81 and 86, right? Only one time frame. Then D pulls back a little bit, and now we only have one time frame that traded between 81 and 84. So we pull down that marker there, and it becomes an area to reference against or buy against. So each pullback against that set of single prints you could have bought, and it resulted in a high of day. Same thing here. We pull back, didn't quite get to the set of single prints, but you could have bought it using D as your out, right? If you want to keep your tights or your stops tight. However, the better play would have been wait for F period to come into the market to see how if we get an afternoon pullback low. And you can see that here we pulled back into that set of single prints, failed to fill it, and it was also just right there where the afternoon rally high was of the previous day. Pulled back into it, and then we bounced up really, really hard, resulting in a reversal bar, but no afternoon pullback. So that set of single prints now gets reduced to 83.50 to 81, right? So still holding there, still holding the trend day, still holding single prints, and F pushes up. Then we get a little bit of a pullback. Have a hard time chopping around here later in the afternoon. Continues to pull back, and this is where I get involved. Is once I seen that we held it the first time at 83.50, I'm looking to get long at 83.50, at around 81, and then potentially even lower, because I don't mind taking the heat, seeing that this market's been trying to push up today, right? We're still in balance. Doesn't mean I'm going to stay married to this trade. However, I did take a shot on this pullback here. Got long 85, got long 86. This market begins to push back up in the next time frame, and I get out 91. Why'd I get out? Well, because I was initially looking for this market to pull back a little bit more, to get an afternoon pullback low and fill the set of single prints. I didn't think we would hold them, so I was looking for us to pull back and fill them, and then rotate up higher once more. However, after that pullback there, we did rotate up higher, and ended up setting new highs late in the evening. Did take another trade, which was shorting the extreme here, but that's a little bit more of a advanced play. I did fade the extreme here around 4,300, 4,301, and 4,299 to rotate back in. I was really wanting to get back down into 90. However, the market really didn't push back, and it was getting late, and I don't like to stay married to a fade type of trade. So once it came into 97, 96, I got out of my trade for a decent profit. I was using 43.0575 as my out, right? So I was risking about 5 points per contract to the upside. But yes, there's our there's our double distribution day. There's our set of single prints. Let's mark it up, and let's get you guys out of here, because once again, I looked over at the time here and realized that we're 17 minutes in. And it cracks me up, because every time I try not to make a long video, it always ends up being a long video. But you know what? I love this stuff, and I hope you do too. So, and if you do, hopefully you're sticking around to the end. So we'll mark our high of day. Our high of day is right there at 302.50. 302.50 is our high day. We have single prints that start at 83.50. 83.50 is where single print starts. So we pull back there. You would look to either hold or fill. They fill at 81. Single prints will fill here at 81. Boom. And then we have our low of day in the lower portion of the lower distribution. 6, 8, 23. Oop, mark that. Low of day. So there you have it. We have the upper distribution, which is 4302.50 to 4283.50. And then we have 4281 to 4264.50, which is the lower distribution. Two different distributions. This single prints act as a gap in between. So if we open up in the upper distribution and cannot take out 42,050, or if we do and don't even take out our balance high at 4305.75, if we push up and can't take it out, you will look to rotate back in, test the lower portion of our with any acceptance back into the day's range. You will push lower into 4283.50, potentially fill this set of single prints at 4281, and then attempt to find acceptance in the lower distribution. If we open up in the lower distribution and attempt to push up, can't take out 4281, you will look to take out 4264.50 and rotate down to 4249 and test our balance low where the gap starts. And then it fills at 4239.75. So those are some scenarios. I hope you all had a wonderful trading day. If you're someone new, I hope you have learned something. If not, then maybe I'm just a bad teacher. Anyway, we'll catch you guys in the next one. See ya.